All right, now we're on lesson 4 of beginning rock guitar, level 1. This is rock riff number 2, 0456765 Now, I'm just going to play through it so that you can practice with me when you review this video. It'll be more up front where you won't have to listen to all the explanations, though I'm going to give you some after I play it. So I'm going to go through it twice and then end it. So I'm going to go kind of a medium speed. 1, 2, ready, go. Repeat back to the beginning. I may have sped up. End it. Okay, so that's rock riff number 2, and it goes through a lot of the same string changes as riff number 1. Riff number 1 was 0, 4, 7, 4. It's only 4 notes. This is 8 notes. 8 notes. So it's 0, 4, 5, 6. So you're doing 0, 4, 5, 6, and then the next measure is 7, 6, 5, 4. Now, so two measures is one riff, one statement of the riff, and so before you start, you want to again prep all 4 fingers, and I'll tell you a good pre-warm-up before you do this. And one thing we have to watch out for when we add the fingers or take them off, we don't want to, like I'm taking my pinky off, and then when I take my 3rd finger off, my pinky goes further, and then when I take my 2nd finger off, my pinky is now 3 inches from where it was on the string. So you want to try to curb that a little bit. Here's a good warm-up exercise for that. Put all 4 fingers down and then play 4, 4, 3, 3, 4, 4, 3, 3, and try to just lift your pinky just to get it off the string. 1/8 of an inch is better than lifting it an inch. You know, 1/2 inch is better than lifting 2 inches. So the less you lift off the string, the better. Now what happens though is when you go to the 2nd finger, often the pinky will go further away. So try to keep that in check and bring it back to the string. If it tends to go further, bring it back. So here's the exercise, twice each, finger 4 to finger 3, do it twice, and then do finger 4 to 3 twice each, and then second finger 3, 3, 4, and do that twice to the second finger and back, and then go to the first finger and back twice. Notice how I'm keeping my fingers right above the string that I'm playing. Keep it in the neighborhood, as we say, you know. Keep it right above 5th Street, 5th string. Okay, so that's a good pre-warm-up before you play the riff. And when you play the riff, try to keep track of your left hand. What you might do before you go through the whole page, learn the riff and just watch your hand as you just keep repeating it on the same string. So if I do it like 4 times, and you can do this kind of thing with riff number 1 too. I may have forgotten to mention that. Just kind of make a drill out of just playing at least 4 times on one string while you're really watching your left hand. Don't watch your right hand, okay? If you hit a wrong string, you're going to know it, all right? Well, you might not know it, but if it just sounds totally weird, then you probably are hitting the wrong string and you can fix that. But generally you can feel your way around the strings with the right hand. A lot of beginners, I've noticed from observing students, they look at their right hand almost 100% of the time, and really you need to start looking at your left hand. And eventually you may not have to look at either hand. You know, I can look up at the ceiling and play this riff with no problem, but I've been doing this riff, teaching it, for over 45 years. Okay, so, but anyway, now if you, again, if you start getting lost, usually most students will get the first 2 lines, the first 2 systems down really good, and then when they get to the 3rd line, it starts falling apart. So a good thing to do, like we did with riff number 1, is do each half of the riff separately. In fact, you might want to focus on the second half. So starting at the beginning of the 3rd system, the 3rd line, it's 0, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 5, 4, and then it goes to the 4th string. It's kind of like starting over again, you know, like it was in the beginning. Now is where it's different. It goes to a different pattern. It's 0, 4, 7, 4, 0, 4, 7, 4. So we've switched riffs at the end of this page. And you do that, it's just like sort of the first riff, and then the ending's even different. You're skipping finger 3, and you're going 0, 4, 5, 7, 5, 4, 0. As you do that, keep your fingers down, because you're going back down the way you came. You don't want to do this, where you're lifting them up, you know. So, keep them down. And just practice the second half. I'll do it faster. Second half of the page. Don't let this surprise you when it changes riffs. You should know that it's coming and be ready for the changes. Okay? So, a lot of playing music is getting familiar with the format, the form of what we're doing, and anticipating what is coming next so that it doesn't surprise you every time. You don't want to look at this 5 days from now and look at it every day and then 5 days from now, it feels like you've never seen it before. You don't want that. You want to become more and more familiar with the string changes. And, it's kind of like if you go to a new city and you rented a car and you found the motel, now you have to find Kroger's to get some groceries and you don't know where it is. So now we have Google Maps, but say you didn't have that, you might ask somebody and they say, well, you take 3rd Street down here and then 2 blocks and then at the stoplight turn left and it may take you a half an hour to find Kroger's the first time. Like you get lost and then suddenly you stumble on it. And then you might even get lost coming back to the motel. But the second time you do it, the next time you do it, you're going to find it quicker. And then you're going to find it quicker because you know all the little twists and turns. And that's the same way it is with music. You don't want to be lost every time you play a piece that should be familiar. If you played it 10 times, you should know it better than the first time you played it. So always keep that in mind. One thing that you want to do in your practicing, and there is an art to practice and getting the most out of your time. And you can do a lot of things where you practice for 3 hours and accomplish nothing because you might be just playing the song you already know and you're not practicing anything challenging or anything new and you're not breaking new ground. So, just saying, I practiced 3 hours doesn't mean that you've practiced intelligently for those 3 hours. So it's very important to be efficient in the way that you practice so that you want to feel like you've accomplished something at the end of the practice, and I know this page better than I knew it yesterday. And when I play it tomorrow, I'll know it better than I did when I started today. And that's when you're really accomplishing and going in the right direction with your practice. When I was an undergraduate music student at the University of Kentucky, I was a Bachelor of Arts in Music, which meant that I had to take more classes outside of music than most other music majors. Like I would take Spanish literature and in translation. I wasn't reading it in Spanish, but I had to write papers and do projects, the things that were totally unrelated to music, and that took a lot of time. And I had to practice for a senior recital that I knew was coming up. Now I had 2 years to get this recital prepared, and but when I had a good class load, a pretty heavy class load, I was limited in the number of hours I could practice, and so I had to limit myself to 3 hours of practice a day. Now that may seem like a lot to you if you're a beginner, 3 hours, and that's it depends on what you want to accomplish and how disciplined you are, but actually 3 hours if you're working on a recital is not that much time to do that daily. You can do scales for an hour, and then you've only got 2 hours to practice your music, your pieces. But you don't want to get carried away and do that probably. So I had to be very efficient about what I practiced, and I would make exercises out of the music that I was playing. So like if I was playing da 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 da, which is a sonatina by Toraba, I would play scales like da 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 da. Now I would do it with fingers because it was classical guitar, but not with a pick. But that's sort of the point, is that I was taking little motifs from the music and making warm-up exercises out of them. And that really helped me a lot to get more done in less time. So you can devise ways of, what you might want to do with your practice is what I tend to do now. I do a phase 1 warm-up, and then I'll take a break, fix breakfast, or take a little walk or something, and then come back and do phase 2, where I'm doing things that are more challenging and doing studies that are more difficult in phase 2 warm-ups. And then I'll work on my repertoire, my pieces. And that's with classical guitar, but you can apply this to rock guitar as well. So try to accomplish something with your practice every day. And this is just a pep talk on practicing. And a lot of people don't realize how much time it really takes to learn this instrument. And think about it, people in India, like Indian classical music, like the great sarod player. If you don't know what a sarod is, look it up and look up Ali Akbar Khan. And when he was a young person, his father ran a music school and was angry if Ali Akbar Khan didn't practice 18 hours a day. 18 hours a day. And some people to this day practice 12 and 18 hours per day. And I know a classical student at the University of Kentucky that just graduated with a master's degree who practiced regularly 12 hours a day. He said he would go into the practice room when it was dark and come out when it was dark. So keep that in mind, that you get out of it what you put into it. And that's what the great jazz guitarist Wes Montgomery said. You get out of it what you put into it. But and you may not want to be a professional musician, you may not aspire to that, but it takes what it takes. And whatever it takes to get to play the way you want to play, that's what it's going to take. And it's usually more work than you think it's going to be. And when you see people playing on TV, on videos, and they're singing and playing, it looks so easy, but everybody has had to pay their dues. And so keep that in mind, and have fun with this. This is Rock Riff number 2, and I'll play it one more time, kind of fast, and I'll go through it twice. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I'm just going to go through it once. Okay, so change my mind. Then 0, 4, 7, 4, 0, 4, 7, 4. Then end it. When you end it, you can start putting on the brakes and slowing down a little bit. So have fun with that. If you haven't, subscribe to John Hedger Guitar Studio, and go to Facebook and like John Hedger Guitar Studio Facebook page. Thank you so much.